name is Dave Gorman, and I believe that modern life is good-ish. And I intend to prove it-ish. Now, to help me make my ishy case, I've loaded up my laptop with things I want to show you, and to save us from all huddling around an 11-inch screen, I've hooked it up to this projector screen, and I've got the remote control in my hand. Now, I want to start this evening by asking, have you ever found yourself in a part of the internet that's made you think, hang on, this just shouldn't exist? Now, I don't mean on moral grounds, although I am sure there are plenty of those. I mean, there are pages out there that are surely surplus to requirements. For example, there are sites where people ask questions in the hope that other visitors will provide answers. And for some questions, that makes sense. But most of the time, it's as if you've discovered the corner of the internet occupied exclusively by those people who don't know that Google exists. So you get questions like this. How many days does February have in a leap year? Now, it's okay, sort of, to not know the answer to that question. It's a bit weird. But, well, it's okay if you're under 4, maybe. But asking it in here is strange, isn't it? Oh, hey, I'll just type that in, and hopefully by the time I come back tomorrow, somebody might have come along and answered it. How can they not know that Google exists? That is like walking past 3 post offices and a newsagent's, and then popping into the butcher's to see if they've got any stamps. If you Google the term leap year, the answer turns up as the first result. If you put it into Bing, it's the first result. If you put it into Ask Jeeves, I have no idea what happens, but you'll probably have other questions relating to calendars, as you obviously think it's 1998. The answer is just 0.26 seconds away, but instead of clicking the I feel lucky button, you're clicking the advertise my ignorance to the world button. And if you don't think this is weird, you've got to agree with me about this one. How many days does March have in a leap year? What? How can they not know what a leap year is? I don't expect everyone to know or care about why it happens. I don't expect everyone to unpick the reasons. But I do expect everyone to know that February sometimes has 29 days and the rest of the months remain unchanged. There is a lovely, slightly impatient tone to the answer. Same as it always does. I'm not giving you a number. You've got to look it up yourself. 30 or 31. You do the work. I'm not helping you all the way. How many days are there from October the 1st to December the 31st in a leap year? What does this mean? Translation, hello, I can't add up and I don't know what a leap year is. Help! Who are these people who don't know what a leap year is? If you were a teacher and a kid in your class put their hand up and asked that, you wouldn't just answer, you'd walk them back to the start of the thought process and try to work out what they really wanted to know, wouldn't you? But in these places, people just answer. There are 61 days from October the 1st to December the 31st. It does not matter if it is a leap year or not. What kind of answer is that? It's a wrong answer for a start. It's 92 days. That is a question from someone who doesn't know what a leap year is and an answer from someone who's never heard of November. What? How does that happen? The thing is, I wanted to know, is this normal behaviour on these sites? Do people just ask questions loaded with irrelevant clauses and weird codicils that add nothing? So I thought I'd give it a go myself. I was wondering how tall I am in centimetres. I mean, I know I could measure myself using a metric system. I know I could just look up how many centimetres in an inch and work it out for myself. But somehow, this seemed more fun. How tall are you in centimetres if you're 5 feet 9 inches and you're called Dave? See what they do. I came back the next day and there was an answer. 1,752.6 millimetres, but I'm not called Dave. Not, what are you on about? Is this all if you're called Dave? So what are you talking about, man? Which would be the rational thing to do? They just answer. That's normal in these places. How many years in a leap year? What? I think I'm right in saying about 1 and a bit. At least they're not asking how many leap years in a year. No, but they are. Yeah, how many leap years in a year? Well, just less than 1, I think. There's been an answer for this one. How many leap years in a year? Answer, depends. I really wish that was the complete answer. It's not, I've cheated, that's just the first word of the answer. Depends on what year it's on. No, it depends on what the question bloody means, is what it depends on. Since a leap year only occurs once every 4 years on the year of the Summer Olympics. That's how we all remember them, isn't it? Yeah. Is it an Olympic year? Yeah. Summer or winter? Summer. Right, must be a leap year. I'll look out for February then. Yeah. Maybe that's why they named it leap year, to remind the elite long jumpers to get their kit ready for the big day. How can so many people not know what a leap year is? Who are these people who don't know what a leap year is? And why are they advertising that they don't know it to everyone else? My favourite thing about all this weird leap year confusion is the number of times I've seen people quoting the old rhyme, 30 days hath September. You know the rhyme, don't you? Yeah? I'll tell you what, I'll put the words up and you just all say it, OK? You ready? Here we go.
30 days hath September, April, June and November. All the rest have 31, except...
You don't know it at all, do you? Nobody bloody does. None of you know the same one, do you? Because it's nonsense. It's useless. At the start of it, you've got such high expectations. It's the hath. The hath is so full of pretension. That hath makes you feel like you're doing Shakespeare. Oh, yeah. This is Shakespeare. It's one of Wordsworth's sonnets. So it's got a hath in it, yeah. 30 days hath September. I'm right posh, me. Yeah. April, June, and... Oh, is it December or November? They both rhyme. Wait a minute. January, March. It's on the knuckles, isn't it? Yeah, it's November. It's nonsense, isn't it? None of the other lines rhyme. It's just 2 lines of being a poem and then small print. It's just nonsense, isn't it? Nonsense. Was Valentine's Day 1997 a leap year? No, it was a day. It was February the 14th, 1997. What that question means to me is, was this thing a thing it couldn't possibly be? That's all it looks like. You might as well be saying, when was Denmark last an elephant? Is rice pudding taller than a sense of shame? Is sellotape happy? Who are these people that simply don't know what a leap year is? Or maybe in this case, they don't know what Valentine's Day is. I don't know, it's weird. Would you say, sir, on the front with your white tee, would you say that you are a romantic man? Is Valentine's Day significant to you, the man in the white T-shirt?
It can be.
It can be significant to you? Were you a romantic man on Valentine's Day? Would you take a lady out for dinner?
Yeah.
Is that what you were doing this Valentine's Day?
No.
No. Is that because there was no lady to take out, sir?
Yeah.
OK, I apologise for bringing this up. This will make you feel better. Do you know what I was doing on Valentine's Day this year? I was obsessing over Alan Sugar. And that's not because it's a tradition or anything. I don't do that every Valentine's Day. That was very specific to this Valentine's Day. I'll tell you what, I will explain quite why I spent Valentine's Day obsessing over Alan Sugar when we come back from this short break. Is Goodish, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dave Gorman, and before the break, I promised I would explain quite why I spent Valentine's Day thinking about Alan Sugar. And I will, but let me give you some background on the man first. Now, obviously, most people know him from The Apprentice, but as a businessman, I think he's most associated with the company Amscreen. Now, they were best known for home computing, but for me, they'll always be synonymous with this. This is the emailer. I know it seems weird. It's a phone that allowed people who didn't own or have access to a computer to check their emails. Although quite why someone who'd never had access to a computer would want to check their emails, I'm not quite sure. And I'm really not quite sure why I've bothered putting it on the screen there to show you, because, ladies and gentlemen, I have an emailer here. So you can see exactly how awful it really is. It's basically a thing that everyone's already got attached to another thing that nobody wants. This is weird, and I can see some people looking at it thinking, oh, come on, Dave. It's very easy to mock with hindsight, but this was the 80s. Times were different. This could have been a hit. But this wasn't the 80s. It wasn't even released in the 90s. This, believe it or not, is a 21st century invention. This was released in the year 2000. This is what people in the 60s thought the future looked like, invented at a time when we knew it wasn't the future. It cost 12p to get your emails. One of the things that makes email what it is the speed of conversation you can have. You wouldn't want an email conversation on one of these, not at 12p a pop, would you? Honestly, one of my mum's friends used to have one of these and she regretted it every single bloody day. When they launched them, they sold for $79.99, which is weird, I think, because I think I'm right in saying that $79.99 was also the age range of most of the people who bought them. And it isn't just me who was unimpressed. According to this article in The Telegraph, the city was unimpressed. It doesn't say which city, but I know at least one lady in Wolverhampton who definitely wasn't happy. According to this, the day Sugar launched it, more than 17% was wiped off Amstrad's share price. Imagine if you came back from a task on The Apprentice having lowered your share price by 17%. I think you'd be heading for the greasy spoon on the back of that one, wouldn't you? Undeterred, 2 years later, in 2002, Sugar launched this, the Emailer Plus. Because if punching yourself in the face isn't getting results, why not punch yourself in the balls instead? And I'll be honest, I don't know why I've got that there, because I've got one there as well. This is the Emailer Plus, ladies and gentlemen. This didn't help much. In fact, according to that Telegraph article, 3 years after launching the first emailer, the share price had fallen a further 95%. This one allowed you to play games for just the price of a premium rate phone call. Games on this in 2002. Games from the ZX Spectrum that had been discontinued in 1992. You can't say that Alan Sugar doesn't have his finger on the pulse, can you? Well, actually, I can't because the lawyers at the channel won't let me. But I can tell you that in 2005, he famously said, next Christmas, the iPod will be dead, finished, gone, kaput, and let you draw your own conclusions. And by the way, in 2004, he launched this. The E3 Superphone with video phone capabilities, because if punching yourself in the balls isn't getting results, why not get some knuckle dusters and do it again? I don't know. I don't know why I've got that there, to be honest with you, because I've also got one there, ladies and gentlemen. The E3 Superphone. And incidentally, I'm not having a go. I do like Alan Sugar, I really do. Alan, if you're watching, email me. Now, this is all by the by, because he sold Amstrad a while ago and he's no longer the chairman. However, he has other business interests. These include Amscreen, Amsprop, and Amscreen. And you'll have probably noticed a trend there, the AMS. Which stands for Alan Michael Sugar. So Amstrad was Alan Michael Sugar Trading. Amsair is Alan Michael Sugar Air. That's like an executive airline. Amsprop is Alan Michael Sugar Properties. And Amscreen obviously looks after his cream. Doesn't work as well, that one, to be honest with you. It's screens, is what it is. Advertising screens. You know when you're paying for petrol sometimes, above the till, there'll be a small electronic screen advertising a deal on chocolate bars or whatever. It's this sort of thing. You'll get the idea. There it is. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And it's because of one of these that I spent Valentine's Day thinking about Alan Sugar. Because on Valentine's Day, I saw this tweet from the New York Post. The meanest way to dump your boyfriend on Valentine's Day, and then there's a link. I was curious, I clicked on it, and it led to this story, and as you can see, they got this story from their sister paper, The Sun. So I clicked on those links, and I went to the Sun website, and as you can see, it is a story about an Amscreen digital advertising screen. You can see from the picture the gist of the story. It's about a girl who's dumped her boyfriend. It says, Dan, I'm leaving you for Gary. Your clothes are at your mum's, and I've changed the locks. Sorry to do this on Valentine's Day, Laura. Now, I saw this, and I might be wrong, but I immediately thought, this has the faint whiff of bullshit about it. There are several reasons, and I will go through them with you one by one. Firstly, the story says she paid for the digital display at an Esso garage in Manchester because it's said to be where her fella gets his lunch. Now, come on. Nobody gets their lunch at a petrol station every day. That's just nonsense. That's already smelling a bit fishy, isn't it? Next reason, the ad was taken out last week on the condition it was displayed today to maximise the pain. This isn't the best way of maximising the pain. There's so much more she could have done. She could have hired a singing telegram to go to his work and dump him in front of all his mates. She could have taken out an ad in the local paper with a picture of him in it. Those are surely more humiliating than an ad at a garage that he might not even see. Now, my next reason, the ad was apparently spotted by an eagle-eyed Jordan Wilson who tweeted the snap saying this has to be the meanest dump ever. And there is Jordan Wilson's original tweet, and as you can see, there's his profile, and as you can see, he is a digital account manager at Push On, who only turn out to be an online marketing agency who specialise in social media marketing and deliver online marketing campaigns that provide real business benefits. Well, that's a coincidence, isn't it? It'd especially be a coincidence if there was any kind of real business benefit in the story. But I mean, it's on the screen. Does it really mention them? Does it really sell them to you? I don't know. My next reason is this, ladies and gentlemen. Paragraph 6 of the Sun article, which says, it was taken out on an Amscreen digital billboard which normally plugs deals on chocolate and snacks but can be hired for around £100 a month. I think you're beginning to smell the same whiff as I, ladies and gentlemen. My next reason, paragraph 10 of the Sun article, which says the ad was taken out on a digital advertising billboard which normally plugs deals on chocolate and snacks but can be hired for £100 a month. 2 paragraphs out of 10. 23% of the words in this article are effectively a press release. Now, I am not saying that these things are connected. I'm not. I'm not saying that, and I cannot prove that. But you can see that it looks a little fishy. Now, I was curious to see who else had tweeted about it. Obviously, this is the original tweet that started it all from Jordan Wilson. This is the tweet that brought it to my attention in the New York Post. They're not, one isn't a retweet of the other. They're not using exactly the same wording, but they do have a phrase in common. They both use meanest and dump. So I thought, well, I'll search for those words just to see who else is tweeting about it. Ladies and gentlemen, never do that. Never. Don't. Just don't do that. But you'll never guess who did tweet about it. Only Lord Sugar. Poor old Dan got a shock in his local garage yesterday. You too can rent a screen for £100 per month. And only his son Simon Sugar. Yeah, there he is, Simon Sugar, the oldest of Alan's Sugar Lumps there. Also the CEO of Amscreen. Look at that. Again, you also can rent a screen via Link Local. Are they really spending their time scouring the world's media for stories about odd ways in which people are dumped? Come on, guys. We're never going to see the 4th generation of emailer if you waste all your time on Twitter, are we? You can see that this story got under my skin. It got me thinking about Alan Sugar. The thing is, it made me want to get in touch with him. It made me want to send him a message. And how do you get in touch with a man like him? I mean, I've tried sending him an email, but his line's always engaged. I know he's on Twitter, but will he really read it? And will it get maximum attention? No. I think the takeaway message from reading this story is this. You can hire an Amscreen for only £100 a month, ladies and gentlemen. So I clicked the link in Simon Sugar's tweet and went to linklocal.co.uk and set about sending Lord Sugar a message. And I'll show you exactly what the message was when we come back from this short break. Modern Life is Goodish. I'm Dave Gorman, and before the break, I told you why I had decided to use Amscreen, one of Alan Sugar's companies, to send the man himself a message. So I had gone to the website, linklocal.co.uk, where you can see it says, enter your postcode and click go to find your local advertising screens. But obviously, I don't actually want my local advertising screens. I want Alan Sugar's local advertising screens. So I looked him up on Wikipedia, and apparently he lives in Chigwell, Essex. So I typed in the postcode for Chigwell in Essex, which is IG7, and hit go. And sure enough, within a few mouse clicks, I was presented with a list of the available screens. And I'm pretty sure from my research that the Shell station in Chigwell is the petrol station nearest to Alan Sugar's home. I think that's the petrol station where you're most likely to find Alan Sugar stood beside his Rolls Royce, filling up the tank. Although why he'd be there with both the tank and the Rolls Royce is beyond me. Next, you get to choose a template. They have loads of different templates to reflect whatever kind of business you might be advertising. But I chose this one because I figured it had the most Alan Sugar vibe to it. Sadly, this one wasn't possible. That's what I would have wanted, but it just wasn't available. So I've gone with this, and I entered the following text. Dear Sir Alan Lord Sugar, one of my mum's friends used to have one of your Amstrad emailers. I'm not going to lie, it was an awful bit of kit. I just thought you should know. Best wishes, Dave. You then get a summary page that shows you a preview of what it will look like on an actual Amscreen, and then you pay, and as quick as you like, it's all sorted. They have taken £100 plus VAT, that's £120 from me. Now this email, you can see, was sent at 13 minutes past 1 on the 19th of February. And if I was a superstitious man, the fact that the number 13 appears 3 times in a row up there might have given me some cause for concern. But I'm not. And it didn't. But it should have given me cause for concern because the next email arrived before 2 o'clock. I was on a train to Chigwell when it turned up. I was on my way to go and have a look at my ad when this turned up. Dave. Unfortunately, and as you may have expected, this advertisement has not passed through our internal approvals process. Therefore, we will be unable to make it live on your selected Amscreen. We will arrange a full refund to take place ASAP. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I think he has let himself down as a businessman. He's turned down £100 of business there. Luckily, I found an alternative way of getting my message to him, and I will explain what that was later in the show. But I can't really do that until I've given you some other information. You see, I want this show to encourage people to look more closely at things. I think if you look closely, the story of Laura and Dan doesn't add up. But it's just one example, and there are loads of others. I suspect things like this are happening all the time. Now, I have a theory as to why we don't look closely enough. I think we are conditioned to not look at the details. Life is constantly telling us we don't have to look closer. In fact, authority often tells us not to look. Here's an example. If you want to hire one of those Boris bikes, you know, the bikes they have on the streets of London, before you get to ride your bike, the terminal shows you this. Terms and conditions, page 1 of 39. 1 of 39. But it's okay, because down here, on page 1 of 39, is the I accept the terms and conditions button. How is that legally enforceable? Is a contract that someone knows you haven't actually read legally valid? Has anyone on earth ever read all 39 pages? Actually, I know they have, because I have. I am trying to be the kind of person who pays attention, and so I read every page. And to prove that I had looked at every page, I took photos as I went. Now, I think I must be the first person to ever read all 39 pages. I'm pretty certain of it. I'm pretty certain because I found a mistake in them. And having found a mistake, I told them about it, and they changed it. And surely, if anyone else had ever bothered to read the terms and conditions, they would have found the same mistake, and they would have told them, and they would have changed it then as well. So they can't have done because the mistake was still there. You can probably see it already from there, can't you? Yeah, it's there, isn't it? It's on page 7. You knew that, didn't you? As you can see, they are discussing the access periods. Basically, there are 3 periods of time you can buy access for: daily, weekly, and yearly. But of course, I can't just say that. They've got to show it in legal terms. So it says, for example, A, 24 consecutive hours daily. B, 168 consecutive hours or 7 days weekly. And then C, if you're a member, 8,760 consecutive hours or 365 days, which is obviously yearly, or 8,736 consecutive days or 364 days in respect of a leap year. We found them, ladies and gentlemen. These are the people who don't know what a leap year is. These are the ones, we found them. Presumably they are lawyers and they appear to be working for Boris. I was half expecting page 8 to have a detailed analysis of Valentine's Day 1997. In our imagination, terms and conditions have a particular tone of voice. We assume they sound like, oh, hello, I'm talking very quickly and you might not be able to follow me, especially as I'm going to use lots of long words, but I'm very important and also very friendly, so why don't you just run along now and leave it all to me? But in this instance, they might as well be saying, I don't know what I'm doing. The cycle scheme was launched on July the 30th, 2010. They sent me this email confirming that there was an error and it was being corrected on April the 24th, 2013. July the 30th, 2010 to April the 24th, 2013 is exactly 999 days. My intervention has saved them from 1,000 days of idiocy. According to them, there have been more than 20 million hires. That's 20 million times that someone has agreed to terms and conditions that don't make sense because they haven't bothered to read them. That can't be right, can it? What if they'd had something really unpleasant in there? It can happen. And don't look at me like that, thinking it can't happen. It can. In fact, it's happened tonight. Did you not see the sign above the door when you came in? There's a sign above the door. No? There is. OK, Maro, come with me. I'll get the sign. Come with me. Come on, Maro, come this way. You all came in through this door, did you not? If you come through here, there is an advertising screen. You happy with that? Can I take this off now? I'm going to bring it back in and show it to the ladies and gentlemen. After you, mind your back, Maro. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There was, by the door that you all walked through, there was one of my Gore screens. It was there all along. Incidentally, if you want to hire one of these, they're only £99 a month, so... As you can see, by entering this room, ladies and gentlemen, you have agreed to our terms and conditions, which you can find on my website. This is what it says if you'd bothered to look them up, which you didn't. There we go. By attending a recording of Modern Life is Goodish, you agree to the following terms and conditions. Once you have entered the venue, all mobile phones must be turned off at all times. Standard stuff. By attending the performance, you acknowledge that you may be on camera. Your decision to attend automatically grants the producers permission to broadcast your image in perpetuity. You grant Dave Gorman permission to have sex with you. On the night or at any point in the 12 months that immediately follow the show's broadcast. This will take place entirely at his discretion. With each broadcast of the show, you extend this permission for a further 12-month period. And let's face it, we all know what channel this is being made for. There are going to be repeats. Now, luckily for you, ladies and gentlemen, I've had a look around and you're not my type. Because my type is the kind of person who reads terms and conditions. And who is my wife. But the point stands. For all you know, every time you ride a Boris bike, you could have granted permission for Boris to ride you. You're not. I've checked. But maybe, just maybe, you can agree we should be looking a little closer. Now, there is a theory that the younger generation, those raised in an internet age, are able to take in more of what is going on because they've grown up handling multiple streams of information. That's why you see kids riding bikes these days, checking their emails while they're doing it. There was a story a while ago about a schoolgirl in Scotland who threatened legal action against her school if they wouldn't let her use her iPod during her exams. So they had to buy her a new iPod and load it up with music themselves to make sure she wasn't using it to cheat. Where they got one from, I don't know. I mean, those things were finished by Christmas 2006, weren't they? Surely. Of course, there was outrage everywhere you looked, especially if you looked at the bottom half of the internet, where people were leaving comments on news sites and blogs. Now, I have a little hobby, ladies and gentlemen. I like to read all those comments. I like to collate the more eccentric of them and turn them into something else. I've turned them into something that I like to call a found poem that I would like to perform for you now. Well, well, well. I thought I'd heard it all, but I hadn't, because I hadn't heard this. This takes the biscuit, and it's not a very nice biscuit. Britain is no longer great. If I had the money, I'd emigrate. What about the other children around her? Have you been on a train, or a bus, or a coach, or a tram recently? They're full of selfish morons blasting out their music. When, oh when, will you people vote for a government that will stop this kind of thing? If I've learned one thing about girls, it's this. If you give one of them an iPod, they'll all want one. And so will the boys. This will spread across the nation. It's been brewing since the 60s. But now mob rule is finally here. This child should be named and shamed. If Ryan Giggs can be named for his infidelity, then why shouldn't this child be named for this? I am a doctor, and this girl is an addict. No more, no less. I am a doctor, and she needs music just like a druggie needs drugs. I am not a lawyer, but this does not seem right or fair. I wonder how she would have managed if iPods had not yet been invented. I expect she'd have wanted a Walkman. This is categorically the most outrageous thing I've ever heard. She has effectively slapped her classmates. Right in the chops. This is like walking up to each of her classmates and slapping them. Hard. Across the cheek. With a dry kipper. When I was at school, we had proper lessons and learned proper things. Facts. We didn't learn about other cultures. We didn't use computers. We didn't have music pods. I am a doctor. Bring back the cane. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dave Gorman, and this is Modern Life is Goodish. I'd like to think of this particular show as a plea to you all to pay more attention to the swirling morass of information that surrounds us, to look at the details we normally miss. And if you do that, you will start to see patterns. For example, if you want to buy a clock for your kitchen wall, you go into town or you look in a shop or a catalogue, the chances are that most of the clocks you look at advertised for sale are going to look something like that. They're going to say 151, and if they don't say 151, then the chances are they're going to look something like that and say 10:08. These are the two most common times to see on clocks advertised for sale anywhere in the world. And there is a reason for that, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason is, scientifically proven globally, we buy more clocks if we think the clocks are happy. We're idiots. We buy clocks because we think they're happy, despite knowing that if they work, they're going to look very unhappy at least twice a day. We're bloody idiots. It's never 10:10 precisely. We don't like that. We feel like we're being conned. It looks too deliberate. We like it on the wonk ever so slightly. 10:08 is actually the most common time to see on a clock advertised for sale. It is known as the 10:08 rule of advertising. It was taught to me many years ago. It's been doing nothing in my head for years. I forgot I even knew it. It rushed back to the front of my head one day as I was taking a journey through London town. As I was leaving a tube station, I saw an advert for an HTC brand of mobile phone. The advert that I saw, ladies and gentlemen, is that. And as you can see, that's what the phone looks like. You don't suppose that someone in the marketing department of HTC phones actually thinks that 10:08 is just an inherently happy time, do you? Do you think that they think we look at the time, see 1008 and think the phone looks happy? Surely not. But now I'd seen one, my radar was up, I was on alert. I started looking for others. I've travelled a bit, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever I've gone, all over the world, I've looked for HTC phone adverts, and I promise you, every single one, every single HTC phone always says 10:08 on the clock face. Not just the big one in the middle, ladies and gentlemen. The little ones at the side as well also say 10:08. After months of scouring the world's HTC phone adverts, I finally found one. One with an actual clock face on it. One with a thing looking actually happy. They got one for all that effort. But I can tell there is still a little bit of cynicism in this room about all of this. Some of you are thinking, yeah, it's still a coincidence, isn't it? You know what corporations are like. The first one happened to be 10:08 by coincidence, and then they standardise their procedures. They're a big company, that's what they do. No, they don't do that. They don't standardise their procedures. They change them all the time in their adverts. Sometimes in one advert, there are two different realities competing for your attention. It's only the time that remains constant. Look at this. This is a photo I took at my local tube station platform. 3 HTC phones. Trust me, they all say 10:08. 2 of them are also showing off the social networking functions, because now on your phone, you get your Twitter, your Facebook. They've got to put that in the ads as well, haven't they? As you can see, at 10:08, they both have a Facebook status update from a man called Joseph. They're identical. Really great place to eat. You should check it out. Grilling over wood is a sweaty, smoky sport, and so on. But also at 10:08, they have tweets. Tweets from a pretty girl whose name is Jennifer. And on one phone, Jennifer is tweeting, "Miami, here I come." And on the other, she's tweeting, "I'm okay." Now, either the autocorrect facility is shit on one of these phones, or someone somewhere is in an office saying, no, don't say she's going to Miami, say she's okay. Oh no, don't say she's okay, say she's going to Miami. Why? What are they trying to make you think? I'm fascinated by nonsense like this. Advertising, it's always been a simple world. They show you a rugged man behind the wheel of a car, a pretty woman behind a kitchen counter. We are simple beasts. We are meant to think, I could be that person, I could marry that person. That is the perfect nuclear life for me. That's how it's always worked. But now that's not enough, because your phone connects you to Twitter and Facebook, and that connects you to a wider circle of friends. And so the adverts have to reflect the perfect circle of friends. It's got to appeal to everyone and offend nobody. It's got to be young and sexy, multiracial, international, doing cool jobs, going to great parties. It's got to have a better life than you. If I had a Motorola phone, I would have a pretty friend like this, who's saying, coffee in hand, rushing to the beach. Where is she rushing? Oh, I'm hoping it's a bear baiting competition myself. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? You meant to think if I had a Samsung phone, I'd have a friend like this, a nice hunky fella called Rick Stivens. That's an unusual name, isn't it? Rick Stivens, a weird one. Saying, been so busy with my work in the band, finally got everything back in order, yeah? Because he's like you, he works a 9 to 5, but he's cooler than you because he's in a band, oh yeah. He's probably invented by a highly paid marketing executive who can't spell everything. You'd think they'd have checked, wouldn't you? What about Apple? Apple have got to be the most desirable brand of the moment. They're the one we all want, apparently. This is a photo of an iPad advert. I took this on another train station platform. Let's zoom in and straighten it up and see what is going on in this advert. He's on Twitter. Yeah? What can we learn from this? What are his friends saying on Twitter? Let's have a look and close up. Well, Julie Stumbow is saying, just ate the best sandwich, full stop, ever. Kate Johnson saying, can't wait to see my sister tomorrow. Kevin Dolan ran 10K this morning. This is working for me. They're young, they're pretty, they're nice, they're warm, they're doing cool things. I mean, I don't know, are these people real? Have the people from Apple gone to real people on Twitter and said, hey, we think you're kind of cool. Do you mind if we use one of your cool tweets in our cool ads and make you look even cooler? Or have they just invented these people? And if they have invented them, have they invented them in real life? Have they actually got people tweeting this nonsense? Or have they invented them in Photoshop so that it looks real just for a photo, just for an advert? I wanted to know. So I looked them up. And I found them. And I'll tell you what, I am not convinced that they are real people. You'll see why. Julie Stumbow says, just ate the best sandwich, full stop, ever. Just ate the best sandwich, full stop, ever. How good was that sandwich there? She'd only had the best sandwich a month earlier. You can't keep pushing sandwich technology, Julie. There is a limit to how high sandwiches can climb, believe you me. I think, I don't know, but I think Julie must have a sister as well. There is another girl who's used in a lot of the Apple adverts who looks just like her. She's got a different surname, so my guess is that one of them has got married maybe and taken the fella's name. I don't know, it might be something like that. It must be, I suppose. But if these two aren't sisters, I don't know what's going on. They must be, really. All of Gauge Box tweets are exactly the same as well. Concert last night was a lot of fun. Totally got up to the front. Picture link. Picture link. I was so excited to click on that. I thought I was going to click on that and find a picture of Rick Stivens and his band rocking out. Thought I might have discovered a wormhole to another universe. And in that universe, all of the made-up people from all the different mobile phone company adverts are living happily side by side together. And in that universe, they advertise their phones using our tweets. It wasn't there, which is a bit disappointing. But it made me think about those other people. What about Rick Stivens? What about the other companies? We know that Apple have done this. What about the others? What about Rick Stivens from the Samsung advert, the man who got everything back in order again? What about him? I wanted to know whether he was real or fake or made up as well. So I looked for him on Twitter. I couldn't believe what I found. No people results for Rick Stivens. Bloody hell. Samsung, you are playing fast and loose with the internet there, aren't you? You're taking a bit of a risk, aren't you? I mean, if you think about that, anyone on Earth, anyone, could take that picture they've used in their advert and use it to register an account in the name of Rick Stivens, couldn't they? Anyone could do that. That's what I've done anyway, certainly. There it is. Working hard and playing hard with my band. I am doing their job for them, aren't I? Literally. I started off doing their job for them. The very first tweet that I sent out as Rick Stivens says this: been so busy with my work and the band, finally got everything back in order. I'm literally doing their job for them. Not just doing it. I think you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm improving it, aren't I? I've put the tea in. I'm helping them out. I'm helping them out. Did they thank me for that? Was there an email in my inbox from the Samsung marketing department saying, we don't know who you are, but thank you for so realistically recreating the persona of Rick Stivens for us? No, there wasn't. I waited 2, 3, 4 minutes, nothing. Which is why I sent my next tweet out as Rick Stivens. Really hating my Samsung phone? It's just awful. The worst on the market. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier I told you I was going to explain to you how I got my message to Alan Sugar. And the reason I didn't tell you at the time is that I wanted this to be a kind of boot camp in encouraging you to pay attention. And hopefully what I've just shown you has tuned your brains up and you've got that idea and you are now able to focus and pay that attention. It is subtle, but it is there, and I don't want you to miss it. So people at home, I would advise you seriously, get a little bit closer to the TV. I don't want you to miss this. Now, this is the Shell petrol station in Chigwell. That is the station where I had intended to put my message on the Amscreen. Now, pay attention. Some of you might be able to see it already, actually, but if you just pay attention. night. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I've convinced you to look a little closer and shown you that modern life is good-ish. Good night.